If you're already generating cash flow through your business or a high-paying profession, then I'm going to show you how to turn that same cash flow into a high-quality investment portfolio that's built for the next decade of global growth in less than 2 hours per week. And no, you do not need to become a professional investor, gamble on risky plays, or pay a percentage to an advisor for the rest of your life. If you're a founder or high earner, you are elite at one thing above all else, and that is making money. But you're probably buried in what you do to make it. We're talking 50, 60, or 70 hours a week as the norm, with no time left over to properly manage what you're earning. So when that money lands, it either sits in cash, gets handed to an advisor, or gets scattered across a portfolio that you barely have time to think about, let alone know how to manage yourself. You know enough to know you're probably under-optimized, but beyond that, the world of financial markets is just a bunch of complex jargon and opinions. And you definitely do not need another opinion, you need a system, which brings to light the real problem: having no system to manage your long-term wealth. See, you've probably built systems for everything in your business, for sales, for hiring, for how cash moves in the company, but the cash itself is the one thing with no system in your life. And that is exactly why I built Bull Market Blueprint. But what is not having a system actually costing you? Well, probably a lot more than you realize. So let's go through the list of what you might already be doing, starting with a stockbroker. Most professionally managed portfolios struggle to beat the index after fees, but their fee gets automatically charged to you either way. And on a large portfolio spanning across 30 years of growth, that fee can turn into millions of dollars. Let me show you the math. We'll start with two identical portfolios, but one pays minimal fees and the other pays a typical management fee, around 1.25% per year. Over 30 years, that fee doesn't cost you 1.25%. It can remove somewhere between 1/5 and nearly half of the final portfolio value that you have. On a serious portfolio, that is millions of dollars for a service that most of the time does not even beat an index fund that you could have bought yourself. Now, if you choose to just leave your cash in the bank, then inflation slowly erodes its value away every month. And if you try to do it all yourself without the right approach, it will most definitely cost you in time, focus, and expensive mistakes, without even considering the likely outcome of still having below average returns. The goal here is not for you to become a full-time investor. The goal is to give your money a system that reduces unnecessary fees, that protects your focus to continue making more of it, and keeps emotional decisions out of the process entirely, which is exactly what I designed Bull Market Blueprint for: a wealth operating system for cash flowing founders and professionals that turns the cash flow that you're already generating into long-term wealth that compounds for you in the background. Bull Market Blueprint is not a fund. It is not a trading group, and it is not a place where you hand over control of your capital. You stay in control of your money. We give you the strategy, the research, the software, the weekly updates, and the network to help you manage it with structure. The hardest part of wealth building is doing what you've already done, getting the cash flow in the first place. So the next step is making it work for you with the right strategy. Our member Jason said that BNB helped to take the guesswork out of his investing and gave him more confidence in managing his portfolio. So let's talk more about how this strategy actually works. But before that, I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Luke Davis, and I've been a full-time investor for the past 7 years. I manage my own multi-7-figure portfolio using the same system that I'm about to show you. And since 2023, I've helped more than 500 people learn how to manage their own money using systems and processes, not emotions or gambles on a whim. Now, our system is made up of 4 parts. Number 1, the bulletproof portfolio. This is the framework everything sits inside. It's designed so no single position can wreck the plan, and so your portfolio is not dependent on one company, one trade, or one market being right. This portfolio is built across 3 primary asset classes. First, great businesses. These are the companies actively building their moats and positioned to benefit from the biggest structural trends in the world. Second, precious metals like gold and silver, a hard asset stabilizer in a world where currencies continue to be diluted and scarce resources become exactly that. Scarce. And third, Bitcoin, a smaller, calculated position in the best performing asset class of the past decade for asymmetric upside. Using our frameworks, the mix across those 3 is easily tuned by you to your risk tolerance, to your goals, and to the amount of capital that you're working with. Number 2, what goes inside the portfolio? We start with one principle. We want to own where capital is already moving to at the structural level. Today, one of the clearest examples is the AI build-out, or as I call it, the global transition transition to the intelligent new world. And this does not mean just buying the obvious AI stocks. It means understanding the full supply chain end-to-end behind the shift, the infrastructure, the compute layer, the resources required, and ultimately the businesses that are best positioned to adopt and benefit from it years into the future. We are not loyal to one asset class. We're loyal to where the best risk-adjusted opportunities are. If equities give us the cleaner setup, we can lean into equities. If crypto gives us the cleaner setup, we can lean into crypto. And if risk is elevated, we can get more defensive with metals or even cash short term. The system is not built around forcing one market. It's built around protecting and compounding capital strategically across a long enough time horizon to allow the trends to actually play out. Number 3, cash flow compounding. Because this is a long-term strategy, the cash your business produces gets added to the portfolio on a set schedule. We let cash flow compounding do most of the heavy lifting because time in the right assets and consistent contributions to them do more of the work than you could even fathom. Here's a prime example of what adding to a portfolio consistently across 5 years does to the end result versus just one lump sum left on its own. The outcome is meaningfully different for something that should be the standard for everyone, but somehow doesn't resonate for most until a few years of lost compounding have gone by. And number 4, research and risk management. Our team does the research for you, supported by Alpha AI, the proprietary risk management system that my development team and I have built over the past 5 years. Behind every update we post for members is the macro research, portfolio reviews, analyst work, and risk checks that members do not have the time to do themselves. Then the output gets condensed into our weekly strategy call for all members. Short updates and portfolio notes so you get the decision-making context without having to do the entire research process yourself. These 4 components together make up the bull market blueprint strategy, so that all you need to do is commit 2 hours to us per week and you'll never be left out of the loop. And to be clear, you are not spending that time researching or analyzing. That's what our team does. Your time is spent reviewing that weekly strategy call, making any planned contributions, and applying the portfolio updates that fit your situation. And that's why busy members like Ryan can stay up to date without living inside the markets every day. And this system is already working for hundreds of entrepreneurs and busy professionals around the world. People don't join BNB just to feel more organized with their money. They join because they want their capital working just as hard and strategically as they do, without spending their life glued to the market to make that a reality. And yes, members have seen exceptional outcomes. Bobby and his wife run a multi-location dental business in Virginia, and in their first year and a half in BNB, they 5x their portfolio. Matt joined after exiting his tech company and used investing profits to help buy and renovate an apartment in New York. Hunter, a software founder, added 6 figures of portfolio growth in his first 6 months. Dave, a wrestling coach from Florida, went from almost giving up on investing to complete confidence and more than doubled his money in his first year with us. Now, those results are not typical and they are not a promise, but they show what can happen when serious capital and commitment to the process are put behind a real system. And that system is the part that matters. Because BNB is not just a signal group where you blindly copy alerts. Like Tobias said, it's not just signals or hype, you're learning the why behind every move. Carrie described BNB as a calm strategic compass in the market because she gets the updates and the information she needs without getting lost in the endless noise online. Dan said before joining, he felt like he was guessing. After BNB, he had a process, a framework, and a better understanding of risk management, market cycles, and his position sizing. And for busy operators, that matters. Dominic, for example, runs a landscape business and said even during the busiest periods of his business, he still gets the most important information he needs to execute, stay up to date, and to keep following the strategy that allowed for him to grow his portfolio 30% during his first year with us in BNB. So yes, the goal is always better results, but the reason why members can stay with the strategy is because they have the structure, they have the research, they have the guidance, and they have the support around them. That's why BNB has dozens upon dozens of 5-star Trustpilot reviews from members talking about the results, the transparency, the education, the support, and the community that is behind the group. Bull Market Blueprint comes down to 3 things. First, the portfolio system. What to own, why you own it, and when to adjust it. That's my own bulletproof portfolio shown in full transparency at all times. And Alpha AI, our proprietary risk management software that helps us monitor market conditions across the assets that we track. Second, the support system system, you start your journey with us on an onboarding call with a member of our team so you're able to get positioned in your first week. You get a live strategy call with me every week, short video updates, our resources package, a cybersecurity protocol, and direct access to myself and the team 7 days a week. And third, the global network, a capped, vetted room of hundreds of founders, business owners, and professionals across the world. Business calls, guest speakers, in-person summits, dinners, and network building opportunities you will not find advertised anywhere else. And for a lot of members, the network becomes a huge reason to stay. Dave, for example, said he's done business with multiple members by both selling his own services and buying from others in BNB. So if you're sitting there thinking that this is exactly what you've been missing, then before you click the link below and apply, let's talk about the next steps to see whether you should be in the room with us or not. You have two ways to join us in BNB. Our flagship tier for Bull Market Blueprint is $16,000 a year, which includes everything that I just walked you through: the system, access to my portfolio, the software, direct access to me, and the entire network. Or you can apply for our founder tier at $25,000 a year, which includes everything in the flagship tier, plus 2 60-minute one-on-one calls with me for people who want me personally involved in mapping the system around their current portfolio, their cash flow, risk tolerance, and ultimately their goals. It is the highest level of access to me outside of our one-on-one inner circle. Now, I know Bull Market Blueprint isn't cheap, and it is not supposed to be. BNB is an investment for people who already have capital, already have cash flow, and want a serious, no gimmick system for it. The reason members stay is not just one trade or market call. Brandon said renewing was one of the easiest decisions he made heading into 2026. Johnny, who's been with us for over 2 years, said joining BNB was the best financial decision he's ever made because he would have never been able to navigate the market by himself. But even then, compare the membership to what I mentioned earlier. An advisor's fee can take millions from you over a career, charged every single year forever. With BNB, you learn a system over 1 to 3 years that you can use for decades. And for most, I would have to argue the cost of another year without a system is far higher than the price of getting serious enough to actually use one in the first place. And whatever you pay the day you join is your rate for as long as you stay, even as the membership fee rises yearly for new members. But before you apply with the link below, let me be clear. This is investing. There are no guaranteed returns or guarantees, period. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and risk is always going to be part of the game. What we can give you is access to the system that I'm using with my own multi-7-figure portfolio, my team of analysts, the software that we spent 5 years developing, and a community of serious members all around the world. A bank advisor gives you convenience, but very little control. Doing it yourself gives you control, but consumes your time. BNB is designed to give you structure, give you transparency, and give you the support you need without handing over control or becoming a full-time investor yourself. But this group is not for everyone, and I want to make that very clear. We will not accept anyone looking to day trade, gamble on low-quality investments, or get rich quick. To qualify, you must have at least $100,000 that you're investing with, at least $5,000 a month in investable cash flow, and be able to commit around 2 hours a week to stay up to date with the group and my strategy calls. The system we've designed is built for those with capital ready and the ability to make consistent contributions, which is why we have these requirements in the first place. Take it from Jerome, who came in skeptical after being disappointed by other investing groups, but after joining BNB, he said there was no doubt we were who we said we were and that transparency is our strength. So if you have the capital, the cash flow, and 2 hours a week to follow a long-term system built for success, then click the button below and fill out the application. You'll book a call with a senior member of our team. We'll look at your current situation, your capital, your cash flow, and whether the system actually makes sense for you. If we don't think it's going to work for you, we're not going to make the invitation for you to join us. But if you are accepted and you are aligned with what we do, then I look forward to meeting you inside a Bull Market Blueprint soon.